Good morning. In this video, I thought I would do something a little bit different and just take you through a week of crafting with me. It is summer, so I don't know how productive this will be because normally during the school year, I have a block of available time to lock myself in my craft room, metaphorically, and just kind of work. We'll see how this goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. Any hoodles. Today, it's Monday. Let me show you what I've been working on. Right after I finished that, I'll put a picture, that scrappy, oh, I literally have it here. This beauty. I finished this in February, and then I didn't have another garment. I don't know why that's in here. It doesn't matter. Probably because I have to block it. I finished that and I didn't have another garment to work on. So then, as you know, I am trying to use up some of my stash yarn. I don't have a sweater's quantity of any of this yarn on its own. So I have to get really creative, hence the scrappy sweater. There's a whole bunch of different yarns. This next sweater that I'm going to show you is a different way of addressing not having enough yarn for like a plain sweater. You know what I'm saying. So I wanted to make something for my husband, and we kind of collaborated to make like a 90s color block inspired sweater. I'll put the inspo pic up. Yeah, and we just got as close as we could based on the yarn that I have, which was fun. It's a worsted weight acrylic, and my philosophy for using like scrappy acrylic yarn vibe for garments is that these are my practice garments. And it's okay if they look a little crazy with the colors. It's okay if they're all made out of acrylic, because these are just my practices. And when I use some of this yarn, then I'll be able to buy a sweater's quantity of, you know, Cascade 220 or whatever it is, my ideal yarn for that garment. Once I make some room, then I can start knitting garments in my ideal yarn. So until that point, these are just twalls. And this is practice, and then I'll make the, you know, better ones later. So it's really low risk, actually. There's like no stress because there's nothing to lose. It's just knitting. You know what I mean? Anyways, the sweater pattern I'm using is called Richie. Who's it by? By Atelier Emily. Atelier Emily. Sorry, girl. Anyways, I used this pattern to make the February sweater for my best friend. I'll put a picture. For including me in her wedding party. That was like my little thank you, was to make her a sweater. And they got married 2 days ago on Saturday. It all came full circle, and they were so beautiful and gorgeous. Anyways, I'm using the same Henley style sweater pattern, Richie, for this because it is an iconic sweater pattern. Let me get myself situated here. So I started this in, oh my God. I started this in, you know, end of February. Wait, no, that's a lie. Because I made the February sweater in February, duh. Then I made the scrappy one for my birthday, which was in April. So then I started this either in the end of April or the beginning of May. And then it was on hold for a while because it was starting to get hot. And it's getting very hot. Today's high is like 80. But I want to be done with this. I don't really want to have like a worsted weight sweater just waiting for all of summer. That's like not really the vibe. I want to be able to move on. I'm not necessarily a monogamous knitter, but I don't like to have things on the needles forever and ever and ever. Yeah, here it is, period. It's about a men's 2X size-wise. And I did have to buy one ball of yarn. Everything else I had already, and I could really make it work. However, the blue that we chose, I knit the back panel in the yarn that I had already, and I realized I was not going to have enough to also do the front panel. So I went to Hobby Lobby, and it's just a different dye lot, which you can tell, I mean, there's no doubt about it. The blues are not a match, unfortunately, which is like a bummer, but what are you going to do about it? Like I said, 12. But the front of the sweater and the sleeves are the same like ball of yarn. So it's not as noticeable. It's only noticeable like from the back, obviously. And the shoulder connection, I mean, they're different. It looks worse on camera than it does in real life. I'll say that. Real life, it's a little bit more subtle. But I really wish that it had been more of the original shade because the pastel is like not my fave. But it's fine. I have finished this sleeve and I'm working on the other sleeve and then it'll be done. And actually, miraculously, I won't need to buy any more yarn. I did have probably 2 balls of this green yarn, which is a shocker. So I'm working on the second sleeve. And hopefully everything will kind of align stripes wise on the sleeve. I don't know. The only reason why I did color blocking on the sleeves is because I wasn't going to have enough yarn to knit the sleeves in a solid color, no matter which one I chose. So I did decide to try to match the body color blocking on the sleeves. Hopefully when the arm is down, they'll align a little bit. It's not a huge deal if they don't, but that was the goal. The green yarn is actually going to be pretty close, but I'm just going to go until I don't know what. I don't have a plan for if I run out. Probably my plan is that, I mean, I did do the math, so hopefully it'll be fine. But if I am like 1 row short, then it's just going to be 1 row short. And there's nothing I can do about that. So it's a worsted weight yarn and I'm using a 6mm needle. And this is my first time doing magic loop, traveling loop, magic loop. I think magic. I don't know. But it's where you put half the stitches on one side and half on the other side so that you can knit a smaller circumference. I'd never done this before, but it's handy, especially because I like using DPNs, by the way. I'm a DPN girly, but I don't have DPNs in 6mm. I only have them in 5. I mean, the biggest size I have is 5. So I need to get 6mm. I'm gonna work on this. Good morning. It's Tuesday. Yesterday was a beautiful day with lots of time for knitting and craft related things. So I did finish, hello. I did finish all of the knitting on the second sleeve and the finishing work and weaving in the ends and whatever. I mean, not all the finishing work. It needs buttons, but that's besides the point. The actual garment itself is done. The actual pattern, Richie by Atelier Emily, is designed, I'll say, at a closer fitting fit. Like, it fits like a long sleeve shirt on her model and like schematics or whatever. But I used the same pattern to knit more of a sweatshirt, like a Henley style sweatshirt, oversized, in February for my friend. And I just keep following that same principle. I don't think I'll ever knit like a zero ease shirt. It's just really not my vibe. So anyways, I don't know. I just keep using this pattern because I really like it. Oh, and I keep knitting it off gauge because I just don't care. So the gauge on the pattern is 21 stitches by 30 rows with a 4mm needle. And it's designed for a DK weight yarn. But this is definitely worsted. So I actually knit, I think like a small. I may have knit the smallest or the second smallest size based off of stitch counts, and then just for things like the sleeve length, the body length, stuff like that, I knit it to measurement. I think that makes sense. I'm not totally sure, but anyways, I measured my husband, his actual measurements, and then I measured his favorite sweatshirt already, and then just kind of went for it. You know what I mean? I'm not really scared of knitting things off gauge. I think it matters for some things, but truly my vibe is like a oversized 80s drop shoulder type of like style. So I'm not really too concerned with knitting things. They don't really have to fit exactly. They're just oversized. You know what I mean? Anyway, so it's fine. What's my point? This is for my husband. Wow. I try to stay on topic. I want you to know that. I try so hard. But the ADHD is like off the charts in these videos. My apologies. Anyways, there's 4 buttonholes. I need 4 buttons for this garment. I have no idea what I'm gonna do for the sweater. I am gonna wait for my husband to get home from work because it's his sweater. So like his opinion matters, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try this on for you. You're welcome. Okay, what are your thoughts? Love the sleeves. Can I just say, I'm actually thrilled that the red stripe lines up on the arms. Oh my God. Like, is it perfect? No. But I really was winging that. Hell yeah. Also though, I don't know how keen I am on this being green. I kind of wish it was blue. Is it ugly? Really, I was just worried about yarn. I don't know if I have enough yarn to even do it in blue if I wanted to. I'll ask my husband. But obviously I don't want to redo it at all. I'm not saying that. And I probably won't. I just, in retrospect, I think it makes more sense if this had been blue. No idea what buttons I'm going to use. I'm actually so excited about this. You guys, what a sleigh. This is actually so cozy. Obviously I started this before I was doing my stash busting challenge, yarn stash roulette. But I did weigh all of the yarn that I used in this project, and because I was worried about yarn usage, so I had to keep track of my yarn, and I weighed everything at the end. So let me tell you how much yarn I had left over. I only ever had one skein of this maroon, and she started at 77 grams and she's ending at 21 grams. So in total of the maroon, I used 56 grams. The green, I had several, like 3 different random. One was a scrap, and then one was like a huge cake, and then one was like a smaller cake. I just had this green everywhere. So end of the day, I had 5 grams of green left. This is all the green I have left. All those skeins combined, I started with 357 grams, ended with 5. So in this project, I used 352 grams. And then the blue is like more complicated because I have 3 blue, like, these are called butterfly, something butterfly. It's like a common way of wrapping yarn off for like color work or intarsia or something. It's actually incredible. It's a total slay. Anyways, I have 3 of these left. This one is the original one. It's a little bit darker. This is the color, the blue on the back. So I knit the whole back panel. I realized this wasn't going to be enough to do anything else with it. I went back to the store. I already told you this, but I just am explaining. And then when it's a different dye lot. So then these 2 scraps are from the new ball of yarn. The 3 of these equal 22 grams, and in total in this project, I used 316 grams of blue. So for the entire project, I used 724 grams of yarn. And can I just say, I do appreciate that about worsted weight yarn, is that this is basically a 2X, like men's 2X pullover. And because it was worsted weight yarn, I only needed 724 grams. I'm loving that. So in theory, if you go to Hobby Lobby and you buy like, you know, I love this yarn or whatever, which I actually do really like that yarn. Okay. It is very soft. It's a soft acrylic. In theory, I would only need to buy, if they're 200 grams each, you know, 4 of them. And if they're, I think they're like $7 a skein or something like that. So $28 for a sweater. That's a sleigh. That's a total sleigh in my book. I think I say that a little bit too much. Anyways, I really like the, oh my God, do I, why is it giving like Ariana Grande impersonator with the sleeves and the hair? I never do this hair. And my daughter said, I look silly. So thanks. Thank you, Pookie. Anyways, buttons are going to come later, but that's fine because I don't want to sew buttons on right now. Anyways, so I finished this last night and then I didn't quite want to go to bed yet, but my socks that are on the needles were in my purse downstairs and I didn't feel like weighing this yarn for the blue shelf on the yarn stash roulette video. Didn't feel like doing that because my desk was a little bit messy. I remembered I am supposed to be working on a mosaic crochet project. If you saw my first yarn stash roulette video, I made a mosaic crochet laptop cover. And then when I stayed at my parents' house to take care of my dad after his surgery, my brother came over and he saw the laptop cover and he really liked it. And he wanted me to make one for him. So that was almost a month ago. I've been busy, okay? It's the same exact design as the other one, but this one is yellow and gray, which is so freaking cute. Like jealous, actually jealous. If you'll remember, I used this gray chainette yarn for my laptop cover. This is the laptop cover that I made for myself. The gray yarn is the chainette yarn, but the blues are just like, one was like a regular worsted spun yarn, and I mean, I think the other one was too, but it was like way more splitty. I think it just wasn't plied as, or like spun as tightly or something like that, because it was super splitty. But the gray yarn was great for mosaic crochet because it's a chainette, so it's not splitty at all. It's like, it was so much more enjoyable to do mosaic crochet with the chainette yarn. And so when he asked me to make one for him, I looked through my stash specifically for chainette yarns. So I had plenty of this gray. I mean, there's more. Plenty of the gray chainette yarn. And I looked at my stash and I have this gorgeous, like, hello? I have this gorgeous yellow mustard color that's also a chainette yarn. I also have like a skin colored one. I don't know. I think I thrifted it. I'm not sure why I'm telling you that, but I really don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. It's kind of off-putting. Anyways, so that's what I'm doing. So I did this. I had like done 3 rows on this. And so I did 3 more last night. Might work on this. Not sure. It's fine. It's just not like thrilling, but I might. Really what I should be doing is working on the yarn stash roulette video, which means weighing and cataloging all of this yarn. And I've just been stuck on like finished object of what to make, but I've been mulling it over. I think I'm getting closer to what I want to make. I'm just not totally sure yet. So I could pivot and do that as well. I only have an hour before I have to leave to get my daughter from wizard camp. She's in the summer wizard camp, which is like Harry Potter themed, and she's thrilled about it. She's a Ravenclaw. Shout out Ravenclaws. If you want, let me know what house you're in if you're, you know, into nerdy Harry Potter stuff like we are. We're big. Let me just give you the rundown, okay? Obviously, I'm a crafter. I play rugby, and we're big like Lord of the Rings, Pride and Prejudice, Harry Potter, comfort movies. So irrelevant to tell you that. I'm so sorry. But anyways, I'm a Slytherin. Shout out Slytherins for real. Why did I? Oh, I only have an hour. So I think I am just going to work on this. Because why not? I'll put a link to this pattern. I think it's called Mosaic Laptop Cover on Ravelry. It takes you to a blog post. I think it's free, actually. It takes you to a blog post that has videos included to show you how to mosaic crochet, and it's a great resource, truly. But then once I kind of got the hang of it and I understood what I was doing, I just screenshotted the actual chart itself. So I just kind of keep that up on my laptop screen while I watch Roxanne Richardson. If you know, you know. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to tell you where this pattern was from. Good morning. It's Wednesday. Yesterday I worked on doing the second repeat on this mosaic pattern. I can't decide today if I want to keep working on this or if I want to move on. I want to get it done, but also it's like a little bit boring. So I'm not sure. I weighed the yarn after I did the second repeat just to make sure my math is right. And also because I forgot to weigh the yarn before I started this project. So once I completed the first repeat, I weighed the project and then I weighed the yarns so I could get a sense of the total amount of yarn. But it didn't really tell me how much of each color was used per repeat. And then also there's a couple setup rows that would distort the numbers that are required for the actual repeat. So then I made the second repeat, weighed the yarn again. So here are the stats. It takes about 24 grams of yarn per color for a 16 row repeat. I have 112 grams of just this one gray skein. I have a lot of this gray yarn, so I'm not worried about this one. But I have 112 grams left in this cake, and then the yellow one, I only have 76 grams left. I need to do 3 more repeats. So if I do 76 divided by 3, it's like 25 point something. That's like exactly the amount of yarn I need in theory to make this. So it's a little bit worrisome that I'll run out of the yellow yarn just like right at the end. Oh well, it should be all right. I'm just going to use it entirely, and then that's going to be how long this laptop cover is. And hopefully it'll be long enough. Oh well if it's not. The other project that I do need to do is this moth tapestry. It needs all of its finishing work. It needs to be steamed, it needs tassels, and it needs to be put on a dowel. I forgot to say this is from my yarn stash roulette video. Could do this. Good morning. I hope this is coming across as a very authentic week of crafting because I'm tired and bored. Okay, here's what's happening. Here's what's going on. Cute. Oh, so cute. I finished the third repeat. Each motif repeat is 16 rows, I think. And so I finished the third one. I need 5. This is what our yarn is looking like. It doesn't look like very much yarn, but hopefully it's okay. Anyway, so there's this, which is like fine. I'm sure it's boring for the video to just be working on this. It's boring in real life too, okay? We're in this together. I'm bored of this. It looks good, but it's boring. At the same time though, as soon as I finish it, it's done and then I don't have to do it anymore. So I really am feeling like I just want to finish it, even though that's really boring. Right now I'm clocking at like 1 motif repeat a day. It's also taking longer than my laptop cover because it's wider and it needs an extra motif repeat at the top. Mine only took 4. This one's taking 5. And there's more stitches per round. Good morning. It's Friday. Did I finish the mosaic laptop cover? Yes and no. And let me explain. Here is what I have so far. There is a mistake, and point it out when you see it. I noticed the mistake when I was about here, so I definitely wasn't going to rip back to here, where the mistake is, where I've somehow made these little pluses instead of a full repeat. I think I just read the chart wrong and just skipped like 3 rows where this white dot is in the middle. I don't know. From far away, you can't even tell. And I definitely wasn't going to rip back and fix it. However, that did mean that my like repeats were off. I needed to do 5 full repeats. According to my math, I was going to have about 8 to 10 grams of the yellow yarn left over after doing 5 repeats. Well, because of this little blip, I wasn't actually sure how many rows I had. So I did do 5 repeats, or like I completed the end of the 5th repeat. But it's just a continuous pattern, and because I don't really know how many rows I lost, I'm sure I could figure it out, but it's actually kind of difficult for me to figure out where I am. Like setting this down and then picking it back up again. If I have lost where I am on the chart, it's difficult for me to like find where I am. So I think that's what happened with the little pluses. But anyways, I just decided to crochet until the yellow yarn was gone. Because if it's a little bit longer, it doesn't, I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter. And what am I going to do with 8 grams of this yellow yarn anyways? So I completed it in the sense of like I did finish up to the 5th repeat, but I'm not done yet because I haven't finished crocheting the yellow yarn. However, I'm taking a break from this because I have other things to do and boring. I'm bored of this. But it is, I mean, it's pretty. Here's what's happening now. I did just clear off my desk a little bit, not to brag, but I just cleared it off so that we can finish this guy. This is my moth tapestry. It needs a dowel and tassels. I asked you guys if I should put tassels on it or not, and everyone said yes to tassels, so we're doing tassels. But I think I'm gonna do them like a little bit differently than I've done for weavings in the past. So we'll get to that. First, I think we should pick a dowel. That just makes the most sense to me personally. And by dowel, I'll show you what I mean. Come with me. This is my dowel bucket. Dowels and driftwood, and I'll show you my options. I'm not totally sure how to show you this, but we're just gonna try. I've picked out 4. I like how thick this one is. I just don't think it's wide enough. Same. That one's too skinny. I don't like it. This one is my favorite. I think just because it hangs over the edge. I think I like this one. It's a little bit stained green anyways from like algae or moss, not moss, algae or seaweed or something like that. Or I think it just goes well. Ta-da. I haven't hung it up and trimmed the tassels to make sure they're all equal. I also haven't steamed it, so I'm like not that worried about it, but I'm starving. It's lunchtime. I think it's cute. I did more of like these kind of tassels, which I've never done on the bottom of a tapestry, like actual tassels. I think it's a sleigh. So thank you to everyone that said definitely do tassels. I love this, period. Okay, I'm gonna go make lunch. I finished this last night. I stayed up late, which I am wont to do, and I finished the mosaic laptop cover. This was a lot of crochet, but it's done. And that's what I needed it to be. I needed it to be done. It's looking very, like, long. Okay. It's looking pretty long. Here it is compared to the one I made for my laptop. It's not quite as, like, proportional as mine, but whatever. I needed it to be one repeat wider and one repeat longer than the blue one that I made for my own laptop. And I think it is. It might be a little bit more than one actually, I don't think it is. I can't tell. I can't fucking read this pattern. I have no idea. But anyways, I think it's fine. This is how much yellow yarn I have left, which is less than 1 gram, which is perfect. I can use this for like waste yarn, you know, putting like a sleeve on hold or something. This is how much gray yarn I have left, not total. I have a lot of this yarn. I don't know why, but I have a lot of this gray yarn, specifically this one. It is so satisfying that it's this tight little donut though. I love when yarn does this. What was my point? This is 36 grams left. So even though I haven't weighed and cataloged the yellow shelf or the gray shelf yet, I will be able to tell you how much yarn this project used. In total, this project used 253 grams of yarn. Slay. The moth tapestry, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and baby nephew came over last night for a movie night, so I was able to give them the moth tapestry. They really liked it, so that's gone, which I love. Counting that as out of my stash. And then the last thing is sewing the buttons onto my husband's 90s color block Henley style sweater. I narrowed it down to 2 button choices. They're actually the same kind of button, but one is green and one is red. A while ago, I decided to sort my container of buttons into, it was already organized by color, but then I decided to actually see which buttons were matching sets, and then I put them on thread so that they're self-contained. And then all the buttons that didn't have a match, I put back into the container, all the one-offs. So that if I'm doing something like, oh, I need to find one button to sew onto a bag, I can look in the single button area. But then all of my multi-buttons are together. Yes, it is sometimes a pain to, if I'm only using some of these buttons, to cut the thread and then use the buttons and then put the rest of the buttons back on a new piece of thread. Sometimes it is, but I've done it. And I'll do it again because this is working for me. Anyways, I asked my husband, he likes the green ones. So we're doing green buttons. He's wearing it right now, so there's nothing I can do about that. Oh no, I can't sew 4 buttons on right now. Ooh. Other than sewing the buttons onto that sweater, my only other project currently going on at all is socks for my daughter. This is my sock bag, made it. This is the first sock. Oh, almost lost it. This is the second sock. So they're cuff down, heel flap and gusset, which I've been loving actually. I really like the way that they fit. This is the second pair of socks I made for my daughter. Okay, this is the yarn I'm using. Regia Design Line Random Stripe. It's a German yarn, 25% superwash. Nope, 75% superwash, 25% polyamide. The interesting thing is that this Regia sock yarn, Roxanne Richardson loves and uses this sock yarn and mentions it kind of a lot. She loves Regia sock yarn. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would find Regia sock yarn hidden in a bucket in my local yarn shop, but I did. And I was like, oh, Regia. So I bought it only because Roxanne Richardson loves it and uses it. And I really like it. This random stripe colorway. This is the only one that I bought because I just wanted to try it, but I actually really like it. It's so cute. This is my only project that's happening right now. I don't have any other projects on the needles, so I'm just gonna work on this, which I'm excited about. Really, I'm almost done. I'm working on the gusset decreases, so I'm gonna work on this. Good morning. It's Sunday. It's the end of the week. Let's recap, shall we? I finished my husband's 90s color block sweater, finished knitting the second sleeve. Haven't sewn the buttons on yet, but I don't really care about that. It'll get done eventually. I have the buttons picked out. I'm not really stressed about that. I finished that yellow crochet mosaic laptop cover. That took forever. That took the majority of my time. But it's done now, and the yarn is put away. And I think I really needed that. I needed to see it all the way through. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have picked it back up again. Yesterday, I worked a little bit on my daughter's purple random stripe Regia yarn socks. I got past the gusset decreases, and now I'm just working stockinette in the round on the foot. That really is my out and about project. It's not really something that has a deadline and needs to be finished, so I just worked a little bit on it and then put it back in the bag. I also really cleaned my craft room, which was so nice. It was something I needed to do in order to continue working on the yarn stash roulette video, as in taking all the yarn down, having the space on my desk to lay it out and weigh it and catalog it. And I did get that done, which I'm really excited about. I was able to put all my knitting books away. I've been thrifting a lot of knitting books lately, and there was no space on the bookshelf for them, so I'm really glad I got to put those away. And you also saw me working on a couple sewing projects during the week. This always happens to me, like random sewing side quests. I decided I wanted curtains up in my craft room, so that's what I did yesterday, was the curtains. And I'm actually so pleased. They're so cute. I'll put a picture in. But I really like them. So that's really nice. And then with a clean craft room, I finally had the courage to take all the yarn off that shelf and weigh it and catalog it. And now I've begun deep diving into my next yarn stash roulette project. So this has been a week of crafting with me. In some ways, this was a really typical week of like knitting, crocheting, sewing, side quests, lots of things. But in other ways, it was kind of not very typical because I don't typically crochet so much anymore. And I don't typically not have very many projects to work on knitting-wise. Yeah, once I finished the sweater, all I had to work on was the socks until I got the gumption to work on this yarn stash roulette project. So let me know if you're interested in this type of weekly vlog situation. At the end of the day, I'm just a regular person that loves to craft. So this is what my life looks like. I'm just doing random stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.